is up, YouTube? This is Vault here, back in today with you guys another new Speed Duel deck profile. And today's Speed Duel deck profile is actually quite special and unique compared to the other Speed Duel deck profiles. Some of you guys may have seen by the video thumbnail or read the title. Today the focus is actually a Blade Knight Speed Duel deck. Not too sure what to call it. You know, it can be like Blade Knight Warrior, anti-meta, turbo Speed Duel deck, or maybe some kind of like Blade Knight Warrior controlled Speed Duel deck, or maybe some of you guys might even call it, you know, jam-packed of, you know, sort of anti-meta or decent, you know, powerful cards put together to make a deck, sort of, per se. But yes, but the main focus is Blade Knight for the most part on in this deck profile. And it's actually quite interesting because this deck is definitely competitive, just so you guys know. I wouldn't say it's a tier 1 deck, it's definitely tier 2, it deserves a spot around there. Playtesting it against many other meta decks, it does actually decently well as well. And of course, you know, for the reason why it's not in a tier 1 deck is really mainly it doesn't have the archetype consistencies like Amazoness, Relinquish, Blue Eyes, or Gravekeepers, where they really help each other out for the most part and have combos. These are just more a collaborative of separate different individual cards put together to form a strong deck, which works really consistent in terms of controlling board advantage from there as well. So yeah, let's just go dig into it. But before we do, we always have to do our card sleeve review. Today we have our Yu-Gi-Oh! ZEAL or ZEXAL plain logo card sleeves for today, and you guys probably haven't seen these ones. These are relatively new, but not new in terms of the actual product itself, but new for the channel to showcase you guys today. So these cards, once again, card sleeves are from OCG. They released it back then during ZEAL or ZEXAL when it first came out initially. So I thought it's just a really cool, nice dark blue color that we have with a really nice highlight yellow that really just makes the logo pop, and, you know, plain and simple, just to match this sort of deck per se. There's no particular reason that it matches entirely in anything or in any way of some sort, but, you know, it just looks pretty neat to be plain and simple. So just going straight into our skill, we're gonna play It's My Lucky Day, Joey Wheeler skill right here. As some of you guys will probably have known or seen before, the It's My Lucky Day combination with Dicefoon has been played, has you know, gained popularity for recent times, and it is a pretty good combination to have, because, you know, when you do use this along with Dicefoon, you can easily pop 2 spell and trap cards your opponent controls in the back row, and, you know, you have to pay 1,000 life points, but it's actually worth it during most situations that this card can work really well. And, you know, at the right timing, popping the 2 cards in the back row can actually be game changing, or even most of the time game winning when you use It's My Lucky Day. 1,000 life points is slightly steep, but it's definitely worth it, and it's definitely a great shot in gaining the advantage when you use it correctly at the right time as well. So you have to be patient and wait for the perfect timing to use it, and be sure that you know what your opponent is playing. You have to be very, very aware of what sort of strategies they go for, so you can outplay their strategies when you do that. So of course, with the main character of this deck, we are running 3 Blade Knights right here. Blade Knights has a very simple effect. You know, if you have less than 1 card in your hand, it basically just gains 400 attack, and, you know, flip monsters destroyed by battle, this cards are basically negated. It's really good against the spellcaster controls, where, you know, they play a lot with the flip effects currently, and also, you know, by making sure that you have less than one or less card in your hand, can just, you know, bring out a 2,000 beater on the board. It's just really, really good. There's no downside effect to really most of this card as well, and, you know, it's not that hard to just maintain 1 card on your hand. So next, we are running 3 Infernity Beasts right here. Infernity Beast is a very good situation to have along with your Blade Knight when it's 2,000 attack, because if you have no cards in your hands, and when this card attacks, your opponent can't activate any spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. So it's really, really neat. You know, this card is basically a demonstration of what anti-meta really is. You know, it stops anything generic that your opponent can be using to stop your attacks of Infernity Beast. Next, we are running 2 Amazoness Swordswoman right here. You know, this card is very standard to have. One of the powerfulest warrior type monsters you can have, or generic monsters even. It doesn't necessarily have to be an Amazon's deck. It can still give opponents great pressure when they're dealing against you. And, you know, with 1,500 attack, it's okay. Next, we are running 2 Zombinas, And with Zombina right here, you know, she's just really great in general to bring back any of your monsters back from the graveyard when you want to quickly retrieve them. And that's basically the sole purpose. And last but not least, we are running One-Time Wizard. That is used as a very clutch card. Once again, it's a very great combination with It's My Lucky Day. You know, when your opponent has swarmed the board and you know you have a disadvantage, when you have Time Wizard, use It's My Lucky Day, flip that head, so you know call that correct with It's My Lucky Day by paying that 1,000 life points, and you know you wiped up in the entire board. There's also one thing you guys must keep in mind, that It's My Lucky Day, you can only use it once per duel, so it's a you have to be very wise in terms of what you want to use when you want to use it. You know, you can use it in the early game while you do have your life points resource to spend to really, you know, go all in and commit and you know blow out your opponent right there, or you want to actually sometimes save it for a dire situation. But it might be tougher during the mid game or in the end game to late game, because you know your life points might be a lot lower during that time. So you know it takes quite some thinking and preparation and patience as well in terms of knowing what your opponent wants to do in order to counter them, as I mentioned from before. So that rounds up the monsters right here. Next we are playing for our spells 2 Dice Foons, as I mentioned earlier right in the beginning of the video. Dice Foon is just incredibly powerful, along with It's My Lucky Day, popping 2 back rows. Even if you don't want to use It's My Lucky Day with this card, it's still fine. The RNG, the ratio, the chances of you getting at least being able to pop one of your opponent's spell cards is still really good. Simply by rolling a 2, 3, or 4 from your dice, you can at least pop 1 card. Great. It'll be, if you rolled 5, that'll be excellent. Next, we are running 2 Mask of a Curse. Just a really good card in general, honestly. It stops any of your opponent's really annoying or big monsters. Keeps them on the field. It also burns them for 500 life points during every standby phase of your turn. And, you know, it just basically puts their big monsters or any annoying monsters into a halt, and they can't, you know, easily get rid of them as well. Next round basically rounds off for the spells. For the traps, we are running 3 Kunai with Chains right here. And Kunai with Chains is just really great. Overall, you don't really have a boss monster in this deck. That's the reason why you want to run Kunai with Chain. Not only Kunai with Chain stops your opponent's attack by putting in the defense, you can also easily equip it to a monster you have, such as Blade Knight, and raise it by another 500 attack points, and it's just really great. Another alternative way to use this is you can use this in a damage step, and just to increase your monster's attack so that your opponent will have to run into it, and then they might end up destroying themselves as well. That's why I prefer Kunai with Chain over Windstorm for this deck per se, because once again, like I mentioned, there's no boss monsters in this deck, so you really want to power up your monsters you have. Last but not least, with the 2 traps, we're running 2 Dust Tornadoes. Generically, you know, just once again popping the opponent's back row, so to make room for your safetiness for your Blade Knight and your Infernity Beast and your other monsters to attack into your opponent, just for that extra back row removal, because back row is just really relevant in the current meta, and you know, Dust Tornado basically does the job for you. That basically rounds off the main deck. Before we head into the side deck, there is one alternative you can play if you don't like It's My Lucky Day with the Dice Foon. So with that, you would probably take out Time Wizard and the 2 Dice Foons, and you would probably add 1 more Dust Tornadoes and 1 more Mask of a Curse back to here instead, or maybe another monster if you would like, by removing these cards. And instead of playing It's My Lucky Day as your skill, you can actually play Viral Infection right here. What it basically does is, you know, you discard a card from your hand once per turn, or more. You can discard any number of cards from your hand once per turn, actually, and then you choose monster, spell, or trap, and your opponent will have to send those types of declared types of cards from their deck into the graveyard, which is really powerful. And with this actually it has a whole new approach, or a whole different approach to apply pressure into your opponent. By, you know, milling their deck, by also with Mask of a Curse stalling time at the same time, which is really deadly, and it makes it really difficult for them to overcome. Overall, personally, I kind of like the Dice Foon package more because of the back row removal, as well as the really clutch Time Wizard usage. You know, it gets really cheesed onto your opponent, and you know, you can really turn many edgy situations back into your advantage and make really great comebacks from there. That's why I prefer that. It's my lucky day. But if you guys like the safer option, Viral Infection is a much better, a decent option to be, you know, much safer in terms of luck, and you don't really like that RNG type of aspect in the deck. So that basically once again rounds off for the main deck, and we'll head into the side deck right now. Side deck will be the same for whichever version you play, honestly. Right here we're going to play 3 ready for intercepting, you know, just in case you're against one of the top tier 1 decks right there. You know, all this trap card works against all of those. Once again, you know, I mentioned this in all my videos. This deck is a must run in the side deck because it works against Relinquish, Blue Eyes, Amazons, and Gravekeepers as well. And last, we're gonna run 2 Forceful Checkpoints. You know, Forceful Checkpoints is really good to gain card knowledge from your opponent. And you know, if you gain card knowledge, you know, and you can utilize your Dice Spoon and Dust Tornadoes to pop the spell and traps or whatever they set, and or you can know that you don't have to waste it, or you can even foresee upcoming opponent plays. As I mentioned earlier, this deck is really heavily reliant on your own knowledge and capacity of understanding what your opponent wants to do, and Forceful Checkpoint really allows you to bring that up to the next level by, you know, seeing their hand, and you can immediately tell and picture yourself on what plays they're going to make next, and it makes it even harder for them to play around you if you know what they have on their hand. So it's just really great once and for all as well. So basically that rounds off this entire deck profile of Blade Knight Warrior Anti-Meta Control Turbo deck, whatever you want to call it. It's a really fun deck. I definitely highly recommend it. You trying it out and checking it out as well. This is my personal build. You guys comment down below on what you guys think, what sort of cards you want to add, what cards you want to take out as well. Any other suggestions? Open, help each other out to optimize this deck. And yeah, once again, you know, use my deck as a reference to what you normally play. And thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. And this is Vault signing out.